Greetings, everybody. It is Nice Sweater Gang, and today we'll be talking about Helldivers again. Now, I know, I just can't stop talking about Helldivers these days, But, it's a fun game. And recently, with the major orders on the Illuminate front with the new sub-faction, I thought it'd be a great idea to talk about the kind of Helldivers that are there, specifically the kind of Helldivers and what they say about you. So there's going to be 4 kinds of Helldivers. There's going to be the bug divers, mostly fighting the Terminids. The bot divers, mostly fighting the automatons. The squid divers, mostly fighting the Illuminate. And then the major order divers, which basically go where High Command wants to go, where Lady Liberty needs her bravest and most devoted Helldivers out there. So, sit back and, I honestly hope that you don't get too offended. At the end of the day, these are my opinions on what they say about you. And if you find the need to disagree, feel free in the comments. So let's begin. Major order divers. So these are the types of divers where you see them mostly in big groups of numbers when there's a major order to be. And these can range from any planet front, any kind of galactic war front, the automatons, squids, Terminids, whatever, right? And, these major order divers, we really appreciate it. If it wasn't for them, because a major order is worth 55 credits for, or the materials you get for the war bonds, right? And these guys honestly do an amazing service. They're always where High Command needs them, and typically major order divers are really, really, what's the word? Very chill, very calm. They go in, assess what the major order needs, and, they're the ones telling people, hey, go for the cities on the planets if we're attacking, defending. You typically want to go for the cities because liberating planets is so much easier if you take the cities, because if there's 3 and you take all of them, it just boosts the numbers, and then you just got to continue doing just the last chip away. And it is honestly just so nice, honestly. And major order divers are always the funniest all the time. They're always like, oh, 404 Liberty, and and they never really have a bad day, or if they're having a bad day, they take it out on the faction that High Command wants them to, absolutely tear up to shreds. And typically these people are very, very, very skilled, very adaptable to environments, and honestly, if we're going to go with a career, it's going to be a very high-end career, something that's going to be like high stakes, probably like a police officer, firefighter, something that requires like adaptability. And it wouldn't surprise me if I look down in the comments and there's people who are like, hey, I'm a major order diver and I'm a police officer, and for that, I appreciate your services both in real life and in Helldivers. Bug divers. These guys are going to be the Terminids, and I find that there's 2 types of bug divers, right? There's the overinflated number, basically because everyone likes to super credit farm on that, and typically if you're super credit farming, you're either going to be one of these factions, or 9 times out of 10, you're just a major order diver who just needs super credits for the newest war bond that's out right now. Now, the bug divers are essentially the punching bag of the community, right? They're, seen as selfish, they're seen as doing stuff. They're like an ADHD child, right? You leave them alone, you sit them down, you tell them to do something, and then they go do something that they want to do, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't necessarily have a big issue, right? The game plays however you want to play, go on whatever planet, whatever front you want to do, right? And I'm not going to judge you. What I am going to judge you on is if you're going to be super credit farming or liberating something. Like if you're just fucking around with bugs, typically, you are just going to be a very chill person. But if you're just strictly a bug diver, you probably only eat chicken tenders and fries 24/7 with nothing but sauce. And that's just plain boring, right? And, I get that there's like the gloom, the different strains. I think there's the predator strain for the Terminids. There's the glooms, the dragon roach. So there's a bit of variety, but it's like the bugs kind of get a little boring after a while, mostly because they have kind of a similar fighting style. They'd kind of just swarm you until you can't no more. And honestly, typically, if you are a bug diver, you are most likely trying to fill out your fantasy of Starship Troopers. So chances of that being your favorite movie are very high. I know it's a very good movie, but it's not my personal favorite when it comes to this kind of sci-fi faction. Bot divers. Bot divers are the ones that are on the automaton front doing God's work, right? And I honestly feel bad for these because these guys have honestly the hardest faction to deal with, right? And they're always on the front. There's always at least 1,000 in the closest sector to Super Earth, at least trying to liberate the planets. And, Godspeed, you guys do you. And typically, unlike bug divers, bot divers actually, tend to pivot their objective to whatever front they're on, and they pivot towards the major order. So typically, bot divers usually on their free time, they like to go in because they have the Terminator Star Wars fantasy, right? And, the Malevelon Creek and Cyberstand veterans, oh boy, do I feel bad for you guys. I don't think it's necessarily the bug divers thing. That is not like the super hell dive people, like inexperienced hell divers, super hell divers. I think it was just because High Command just really, really gave us a hard time with Cyberstand. Thankfully, we took to the creek. I'm hoping that we can take Cyberstand. That's the cyborgs and automatons home front. So honestly, bot divers are actually pretty chill. Typically, their favorite sci-fi movie for action is going to be the Terminator, and a sprinkle of Star Wars, right? And I don't blame you. You guys are very chill. I honestly commend you for how much tougher you guys have it on the front there. The automatons are fucking brutal. You are a squid diver who is constantly diving on the squid front. There is very few of you guys, and honestly, not a bad choice. The squids are a little boring. They can be a little lackluster, and especially the fucking meat bobs. They soak up a lot of damage, and you guys honestly go through not as much as the bot divers, the automaton divers, but you guys go through your about, I'd say, second to last, struggles with it. You have to deal with the mass amount of vote lists, the mass amounts of flesh mobs, and you got to deal with the amount of stuns and bullshit that the Illuminate bring with. And honestly, I appreciate that you guys honestly just do that for us. The Illuminate are a very powerful thing. They've made it to Super Earth once during the Second Galactic War. And, thankfully, we were able to actually fend them off. Now, currently, we have a major order, as of recording this video, to retake one of the planets that the new void that they have created in it. So the Illuminates are always evolving, as with all other factions. The chances of your favorite movie, or favorite sci-fi movie, I should say, of War of the Worlds is very high, because that's what the Illuminate are really heavily based upon. And, it's a good movie. It's a chill movie. Honestly, a little different than the Starship Troopers and Terminator / Star Wars, build. But, a lot of you guys are very few, very, very spreadly thin for the amount of, people out there. But you have the major order divers helping you out with the major orders in the Illuminate front. So continue doing your work, squid divers. Really appreciate it. You guys are actually probably the most chill out of all of them, next to the major orders and then automatons. Obviously, bug divers have an ego of their own. So that's realistically going to be it. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. If you like what you see, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, or follow me on Twitch that want to go live next. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below of what type of diver you are, and if it's accurate, or if you want to send your constructive criticism to what I have to say. At the end of the day, it's my opinion. You have your opinions, I have my opinions. If you want to know what kind of hell diver I am, I'm a major order diver. I really like the war bond medals, I think they're called. So, appreciate it. And I'm always happy to have some new friends to join me in Helldivers in the Discord server. So, be sure to join. That's it for today. Peace, Kingdom.